The players are approaching the challenge platform. They've already been given God mode, and as it's the new rule, they'll be removing all of their clothing and putting everything they are currently carrying into their chests. The bedrolls have been placed, so let's jump right in. This challenge consists of 2 phases. During the first phase, players will each receive $10,000 of in-game cash to use in bidding on a selection of items. They will then stand on their individual towers and be presented with items. Using the sign on their tower, they can place a bid. However, they are limited to only 1 bid per round, so they need to be mindful of what they bid on. After all 3 players have placed their bids, the person with the highest bid will be the lucky winner, and they can collect their items. They then return to their tower to be presented with the next set of items. This process will continue for an unspecified number of rounds until the admin decides to conclude the bidding. That will signal the start of the next phase. In the second phase of the challenge, players will take turns entering a triangle-shaped pit where they'll have to activate a switch to release the zombies. They can then fight off the zombies using any of the items they purchased during the first phase of their challenge. The first round starts with only 1 zombie, and each subsequent round adds an additional zombie. To complete a round, they must survive by killing all the zombies and avoiding any trigger plates on the ground, which would otherwise cause them to get shot. Each time a player successfully completes a round, they earn 2 points. The players still on their towers observing the action can make a prediction about whether the player in the pit will survive their turn. A correct prediction earns them 1 point. The player with the highest score after 5 rounds wins the challenge. It's finally time to begin the challenge. As the players make their way up their individual towers, the admin will grant all 3 players God mode for this first phase of the challenge, as he doesn't want anyone to accidentally die or get injured. For that reason, God mode is given until the first phase is over. It's also worth mentioning, before we get started, that once the players are on their towers, they will not be able to read what any of the other players have written on their signs, ensuring no one could cheat by looking at someone else's sign. Alright, the players each have 10,000 in-game cash to spend. It's time to begin. The first set of items are 1 bow, 150 bolts, and 20 grenades with a minimum bid of only 500. As the players make their bids, it's also worth mentioning that they have no idea how many items will be presented to them. So if they want an item, they should probably buy it. The admin could end this quasi-auction at any time if they haven't purchased any weapons. Phase 2 of the challenge will get extremely rough for them. Let's take a look here. We have Glass with 701, Whiskey with 752, and Lotus with 505. Whiskey is the winner, and she'll make her way down to the chest, grab her items, put the money into the chest, and go back up. Next item up for sale is the military helmet, which is actually a perk, granting the user God mode from 2200 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. during the game stage following the challenge. And the minimum bid for this item, 2,000, a steep price. But then again, it's for a powerful perk. Needless to say, this perk won't be able to be put into effect until the next challenge. Glass Sandwich has just bid more than half his cash just to get this perk. Seems he really wants it and is taking no chances. Remember, they still need to buy weapons to use for the second phase of this challenge. Whatever they buy here, they will be able to use in the triangle pit, and they'll keep afterwards. Glass ends up taking the win, paying over 2,000 more than Whiskey just for this perk. He heads down, purchases his perk, and walks back up. For the next item up for sale, we have an SMG with 300 ammo and a minimum bid of only $500. For 500, 309mm bullets alone is completely worth it. Now remember, they get to keep what they have, but also use it in the triangle pit below. Whatever they're facing, 300 bullets should be more than enough. Looks like Whiskey is bidding just under 1,100, while Lotus is putting in 2,000. Glass Sandwich comes in just shy with about 1,950. Lotus takes the win for $2,001. As he makes his way over to get his items, it's also worth reminding you all that as a minimum, all three players have been giving a pistol and 25 bullets. This is just the bare minimum they'll have to fight in the pit in case they don't buy a weapon. But 25 bullets and a pistol is unlikely to win the challenge, so it's essential they buy something before the first phase ends. Up next is a 5-piece steel armor set. Pretty much the strongest armor set in the entire game, and definitely good to have during a zombie fight, with a minimum bid of only 1,000. Glass Sandwich puts in a bid for $1,001, while Whiskey drops $3,202 on this bid. Lastly, Lotus puts in 1,000 even. And with that, Whiskey is the clear winner of that bid. She heads down, collects her armor, and walks back up. For our next bid, we have a chainsaw with 5,000 gasoline and a steel spear for just a minimum bid of $300. Seems like a pretty good deal, but we'll have to see what our players think. Whiskey puts in $512, while Lotus enters $305. Glass Sandwich puts in just over 300, and with that, Whiskey is once again the winner of this auction. That chainsaw might come in handy. We'll have to wait and see. For the next auction, we have Molotovs, pipe bombs, and grenades, 15 of each, with once again a minimum bid of $300. Ranged throwable weapons for such an affordable price? What will our contestants think of that? It looks like Glass Sandwich is very interested, putting in over $2,200 for that bid. Meanwhile, Lotus only puts in a meager $500. Looks like he took a moment to think, did he really want it or not? But in the end, $500. Whiskey, after some deliberation with herself, has decided not to put a bid in for this auction. That means Glass Sandwich will be the winner, with $2,201 spent on grenades. Taking a look at our next auction, we have a shotgun with 150 shotgun shells and 25 repair kits, for a minimum bid of $500. Repair kits are absolutely essential for keeping your weapons in good shape. I'm interested to see what our contestants will bid for this auction. Our players have taken a moment, and now the bids are in. Glass Sandwich bid $851, while Whiskey bid $552. Lotus only bid about $500, making Glass Sandwich yet again the winner of this auction. Glass Sandwich has spent a good majority of his money now, so it's going to be interesting to see what the next couple auctions are and how he fares in them. Either way, I think he's got some pretty good items for the pit. Up next, an M60 with 300 bullets, with a minimum bid of $1,000. This LMG delivers serious firepower, and with 300 bullets, you'll have plenty of ammunition to spare. Checking in with our contestants, it looks like Lotus is putting in $2,300 for this bid. Glass Sandwich is going all in with $1,897. Whiskey is putting in $1,550. With all these bids locked in, that means Lotus is the winner of this auction and will take home the M60. I think this was a very important pickup for Lotus, and I'm glad he got it. For the next kit, we have a pistol, 150 bullets of ammunition, some stew, water, and first aid kits, with a minimum bid of $1,000. Lotus puts in the minimum bid of $1,000. Once again, Glass Sandwich is going all in for his bid. Meanwhile, interestingly enough, Whiskey, with over $5,000 remaining in her wallet, chooses not to put a bid in. This is a pretty nice starter kit for anybody who's in need of gear, and the first aid kits will keep you healthy as you fight. With Lotus only putting in $1,000, that means Glass Sandwich is the winner of this auction and will take home the kit of items. But this also means that Glass Sandwich now has no more money and can't bid in future auctions. And it looks like that does it for this first phase of the challenge, as the admin has just ended the auction. Glass Sandwich is the only one who used all of his cash, while both Whiskey and Lotus still have over $5,000 each. All of that cash is now completely useless. As Phase 1 comes to an end, the players will get ready for Phase 2, and Glass Sandwich will be the first one in the pit. As a quick reminder, the person in the pit, Glass Sandwich, if they kill all the zombies, they earn 2 points. The remaining 2 players, Whiskey and Lotus, will have to guess whether Glass will live or die. If they guess correctly, they will earn 1 point. After 5 rounds, the person with the most points will win the challenge. And they're allowed to use anything they'd purchased in the first phase of the challenge to fight the zombies with. God mode will be removed before the round goes live. It looks like Lotus and Whiskey believe Sandwich will live, so let's see what happens. The round begins as soon as Glass hits the switch, which will make the camera above active. Once it's active, he'll have to take a few steps back for the camera to see him and release the zombie. He cannot shoot at it until the zombie drops down. Round 1 begins with only 1 zombie, and the zombie has dropped down. Pushing up with the shotgun, a well-placed blast knocks it on its feet, and then he finishes off with the pistol. Nicely done. Here we can see our first set of scores. With Glass Sandwich surviving, he gets 2 points, and Lotus and Whiskey each get 1. Next up in the pit will be Whiskey. But before we can watch, of course, we need to find out what will Glass and Lotus say. Looks like Glass Sandwich says live. And Lotus also says live. Now let's take a look at what happens. These aren't normal zombies, these are radiated zombies, and they're significantly more aggressive, faster, and harder to kill than normal zombies. Flipping the switch, it looks like Whiskey is ready to put that crossbow to good use. Shooting off a pistol to try and get its attention. Doesn't seem like it's working though. Oh, finally, there it goes, dropping down into the pit, but running away. It seems a little frightened. With the crossbow equipped, fire bolts make it light on fire. Crossbow lights it on fire, but it doesn't seem happy charging directly at Whiskey. It's a complete brawl now, using the chainsaw and the spear to try and finish it off. This zombie is not happy. But finally, it goes down, and that is a win for Whiskey. That also is a couple extra points for Glass Sandwich and Lotus. And speaking of Lotus, it's now his turn to drop into the pit. It looks like this time, Whiskey and Glass Sandwich are both saying live. Lotus, with the MP5 equipped, flips the switch and runs away. Once again, the zombie seems a little scared, a little nervous, doesn't want to come down, but that's okay. Finally, after a little coaxing, it feels ready to join the pit. Interestingly, Lotus is choosing to use the pistol, which I don't think is the move, but swapping to the MP5 finishes it off very quickly. That was incredibly effective. I am shocked. Good, well-placed headshots, Lotus. And with that, round 1 finishes with everybody getting 4 points. Moving into round 2, it's Glass Sandwich's turn yet again. And now there are 2 radiated zombies to deal with. Whiskey chooses live. And Lotus also chooses live. I think they're pretty confident knowing that they're betting on the most experienced player out there. Swapping over to Glass Sandwich, he's flipping the switch and running back. Off the zombies run, dropping down into the pit and charging right at Sandwich. Using the shotgun, Glass Sandwich manages to drop one. But it's only a temporary victory. The second one closes in and gets some good hits on him. This is dangerous. Glass Sandwich is extremely low on health and has to heal. It seems to be a chicken and hen situation. Sandwich is just running around best he can like a chicken with no head, trying to heal and get away from these zombies, but in the end, it's not enough. Ugh. Glass Sandwich goes down on round 2. Looks like Lotus and Whiskey's faith in Glass was misplaced. Unfortunately, no one walks away with a point. Let's take a look at this in slow motion again to see exactly how Glass Sandwich died. What happens is a zombie steps on the right trigger plate, activating the corresponding turret, which shot Glass, killing him. That is incredibly unlucky for Glass, as usually these turrets aren't quick to react, and if the zombie steps off of them fast enough, nothing happens. But this time it almost instantly activated. The middle plate is extremely sensitive and will activate almost instantly, but the ones in the corner, they usually have some delay. So this is just unfortunate turn of events. Either way, Sandwich died. And next up is Whiskey. For this round, Glass Sandwich votes die. But Lotus seems to have a little faith, voting live. Let's take a look how this round goes for Whiskey. Starting off, one zombie immediately enters the pit. Looks like the crossbow was kind of useless though. But the fact that only one zombie is chasing after her is a good sign. That means she can fight them one at a time. It looks like she's kind of struggling though, taking some big damage here. Trying to use a pipe bomb, but thrown off to the side, doesn't hit the target. Oh no. Very low on health here, swapping to the pistol. Just not enough. Whiskey dies on round 2. Now remember, Whiskey didn't make that many purchases during the auction phase. I think that's why she's struggling so much with this current challenge. With her death, it seems the only person earning a point is Glass Sandwich, who guessed correctly that she would die. She needed to spend much more aggressively during the first phase, because that chainsaw seemed pretty useless. To conclude round 2 will be Lotus. It looks like Whiskey and Glass Sandwich both are putting their faith in Lotus's abilities, but will he make it? Let's find out. Now remember, Lotus's SMG tore through the zombie on round 1, so let's see what happens here. Emptying a full mag, getting some good hits in, definitely some headshots, but trapped in a wall and... oh, wow. Immediately melted, eaten alive by the zombie. That is another death for Lotus. That means everyone died on round 2. And no one earns a point for this specific play. It's time for round 3 though, and first up, as usual, is Glass Sandwich. Lotus and Whiskey both choose live, and this time there's 3 zombies to contend with. Sandwich didn't survive round 2, but that was partly because of the turret. Will he be able to handle 3 zombies? Let's find out. Glass Sandwich is very slowly opening up this gate. I see the strategy he's trying to employ. He's trying to lure them out one at a time very slowly so he can line up the grenades, but looks like he mistimed it a bit. But with that second grenade, 1 zombie is immediately killed. And now the second is gone as well. And with the shotgun, Glass Sandwich manages to knock down the 3rd zombie and finish it off with the pistol. That means Glass Sandwich has survived round 3. Great work. And Whiskey and Lotus earn a point. Moving on to Whiskey, it's time for her to battle against 3 zombies. Glass Sandwich is voting for die, while Lotus is voting for live. Whiskey seemed to struggle last time with the crossbow, so we'll have to see what happens with 3 zombies in the mix. Grenades in hand, it seems Whiskey's going for a similar strategy of lining up nades. Will it work out though? One of them is on fire and she's being mobbed. Spear in hand, just trying to make some sort of move, but it doesn't look likely. And that is another death for Whiskey. While it's unfortunate Whiskey died, this does mean Glass Sandwich gets a point for voting correctly. Lotus, however, doesn't. But here is Lotus's opportunity for redemption. Can he get some points and survive this round? Let's see. Let's take a look at how Sandwich and Whiskey vote this time. Glass Sandwich is not holding back with his opinion. Die, but not only just die a horrible death. Meanwhile, Whiskey votes to live. Will Lotus be able to prove Glass Sandwich wrong? Let's find out right now. The door opens up and 2 zombies charge out. Oh dear. Not looking great for Lotus here. He's running around being punched by the zombies. And another death for Lotus. Glass Sandwich is the only one to get a point this round, after guessing correctly. Moving on to round 4, it's finally time for Glass Sandwich to jump into the pit once again. This time, fighting 4 zombies. After seeing what Glass Sandwich wrote, it looks like Lotus is also not holding back with how he feels. Meanwhile, Whiskey is also voting for death. Could this be a turning point? Will Glass Sandwich truly die this time? He's actually done incredibly well, all things considered. The strategy he's employed has worked out wonderfully. Let's take a look. Flipping open the switch and walking very slowly towards the wall, I'm wondering what he's trying to do. Oh, looks like the camera finally detected him, and the gate is opening up. but the zombies haven't yet noticed him. I'm curious if he's trying to line up a grenade throw or maybe trying to move one of them into the trigger plates? I'm not entirely certain. Just kind of scoping it out. Perhaps he's trying to draw one out at a time, and that's exactly what he did. Throwing the nade down didn't quite hit the mark, but let's see what happens. Shotgun being used to drop the first zombie. The rest pour out of the gate, though. And now it's a matter of will he be able to dish out enough damage before being dropped. All 3 zombies charging after him. That's another one dropped. But he's actually doing a great job so far. He's dealing out damage, he's healing up when necessary, and he's figuring out the movement as well. 2 more zombies are left standing. Will he be able to deal with them? It looks like 1 or 2 of these zombies may have stepped on a trigger plate, but I don't know if the turrets reacted. Going back to what I said earlier with Glass Sandwich dying on round 1, that was extremely unlucky. Continuing to run around, another zombie stepped on the trigger plate, and there he goes, knocked to the floor. Glass Sandwich manages to finish it off, and that is a win for Glass Sandwich on round 4. Incredible work. 11 points total for Glass Sandwich. Both Whiskey and Lotus were completely wrong. Now it's time for Whiskey. It seems based on their messages, Lotus and Sandwich both believe that Whiskey is gonna die. Given her weapons and how the past rounds have gone, I have to agree. But let's take a look. Whiskey, 1 zombie immediately drops, 2nd one pours out, 3rd one about to drop as well, crossbow being used. Not a lot of damage from that as we've seen. Already being mobbed by 1, and there it is. With the weapons Whiskey has, there's just unfortunately nothing she can do to try and win this fight. With that though, Glass Sandwich and Lotus both take a point. Finally, it's Lotus's turn in round 4. As expected, Glass Sandwich and Whiskey both believe Lotus will die. At least the messages are getting a little bit more creative. Can Lotus prove them wrong, though? Let's find out. It looks like Lotus is trying to employ a very similar strategy to what Glass Sandwich did. With the door opening and 1 immediately getting aggravated, though, will it work out is the question. But uh-oh, the other two have figured out and are on their way. It looks like one of the zombies just stepped on a No way. Lotus has just died because he stepped on the dart trap. How unfortunate. To be fair though, without that trap, I still think Lotus would have died. The zombies just got extremely aggravated at him super quick. But regardless, these are the final results, because both Glass and Whiskey earned a point each, giving Glass a total of 13 points, and thus making it impossible for anyone else to catch up. So with that, Glass Sandwich takes the win, making this his 4th challenge win, earning him another 10 levels. Congratulations to Glass Sandwich. Well played.